Welcome to Big Red Leads. I'm Big Red, getting you and your business back to the black. You are the business man. How's everybody doing today? Hope everyone's well. Um, Today is more of a message and just some notes that I've written over the years with my own personal journey and just in growth and evolving as a man. And I want to speak to those people who do not necessarily know how to de-escalate a situation, or just being in a space of not tolerating disrespect anymore, because it happens on a continuous basis if you allow it. And in a lot of those spaces, you're being tolerant of it. And just a few things that can easily not only de-escalate the situation for you, but for those around you. And believe it or not, this is it's just it's an olive branch to help those in those spaces where you want to be respected. You need to be respected. It's a requirement that you be respected. But the key for most of this quick discussion today, is you have to respect yourself. You have to respect yourself enough to simply say that you're not going to be in a space or an environment that's going to allow disrespect to be tolerated, much less accepted. Now, there are just a few things that we're just going to touch base on, and if you roll with me, roll with me. Go ahead and hit that like button, share this video. Please understand, I have been guilty of this myself, so this is not coming from a place of me talking down to anybody, because I'm a human being just like everyone else. I have my days when I'm just not taking it anymore, and I might have to address the situation. But I was going through some old journals and just came across some notes, just, to myself, on how I handled a situation that got out of hand, how I handled a conflict that just escalated to like a super, super high level. And reflecting and looking back on some of these situations go back almost 22 years. And I know for younger people today, this can be an issue, men and women alike. I mean, polarities are all out of whack, that's one thing, but at the same time, as the world has gotten softer, there's a lot more passive aggressive behavior that's taking place. Now, I'm not old by any means, but I'm old enough to realize when I was a young person, when I was a very young person, I should say, I'm still young, but when I was a young person, it was just pretty much direct. Like, this is what it is, this is how it is, how we gonna handle it. And a lot of times, looking at that, cooler heads could have prevailed. So I guess the first thing I would say is just remain calm. Remain calm. Take a second. If you have to, walk away from the situation. Just remain calm, because believe it or not, you reacting instead of responding, just taking a second and gathering your thoughts, speaking with reason, and simply responding to someone who's obviously dealing with something. Because there's no way that someone's going out of their way naturally, in the right state of mind, to just be disrespectful. And believe it or not, in a lot of ways, that person could be hurting. That person could be in a bad place. That person could be dealing with something that you have no clue as what's going on with them. So if they're just lashing out and being disrespectful, or just being overly passive aggressive, they're dealing with something that has nothing to do with you. So just remain calm, understand, take a moment, step away if you have to, and then come back to the conversation and address the issue at hand. Another thing, that just looking at notes and realizing that I have been so guilty of this one, I didn't put myself in that person's shoes. So in a lot of spaces where just me having a sliver of empathy for someone else and putting myself in their shoes and what they're actually dealing with would have changed the scope of that entire conflict in a way that would have been a total 180 from where it started, how it started, to where it escalated to. So I want you to think about that. Like, have a little empathy. Like, as I've gotten older, of course, yes, I've gained some things along the way, some virtues that have helped me in a way that has made me a better person, a better coach, a better friend. You know, just better in a lot of different ways. Like, I'm not sugarcoating it for anyone. I don't really have a filter for the most part, but I can be truthful and honest with someone and still connect with them in a way that we can resolve whatever this issue is without it having to go left. So having a little empathy goes a long way in that space. So if you understand that, you grasp that, and you just take a second, because your natural instinct, if someone is attacking you, it's fight or flight. It's fight or flight. That's your natural human response as an animal on the planet, just like all the other animals. In this sense, you're either going to fight or flee. Fight or flight. It's a real thing. Most people today choose to just get away from the situation. If you got two strong-willed individuals, one person says one thing to you, next thing you know, your feelings are hurt, and now you have to react instead of actually, like I said, taking that second and just coming with reason instead of your feelings. There was a saying back in the day that we used to have, and it makes so much sense now, but I don't know if it's been canceled or whatever, but, we used to just forget someone's feelings. And, there's another word for that, but you get what I'm saying. So just take that into account. Like, show some empathy in that position, because, like I said, you don't know what that person's going through. And one of the most powerful things that I actually wrote down. I was 25 when I wrote this down, and it's amazing because looking back on it, it's like all those years of hanging around my great grandmother and listening to my grandfather talk about situations and scenarios. At 25, I had this type of wisdom, and it really didn't click in until, friends we start to get into relationships, people getting married, people moving cross country, out of the country, and you and your friend group, your brothers, if you will, or your sisters, you start separating. At 25, I actually wrote this down. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful things you can actually do, because you can actually see what it is that you might have done to initiate this lash out or this act out. Because believe it or not, it's not always on the person who's naturally jumping at the bit and being disrespectful. Sometimes it might be something that you've done. So you have to be able to self-reflect and look, hopefully course correct, and check yourself. Check yourself at the door. Check your ego at the door. And not necessarily pushing your feelings aside, but understand, if you're coming back at somebody who's angry or frustrated with you or frustrated with a situation, all you're doing is throwing fuel on the fire. Once you understand that and you actually get it, like, okay, wow, I could have easily brung that fire down. I could have brung that down. Instead, all I did was throw gasoline on it. And now it's a raging inferno. And everyone involved is now on fire. So just think about that. When you're sitting and you're going through a situation, just take a moment and step away and actually realize who you are and what you could have done or what you could have done better. A little self-reflection goes a long way I wrote that at 25 years old. So, what I'm simply saying is, believe it or not, all these things, they come with time, experience, being in the situation, and actually having to go through it. All these things, it really breaks down and boils down to what you are going to do, how you are going to respond, how you are going to react in those moments. How do you handle those situations? Are you willing to talk it through? Are you willing to converse with that person even though you might not get along with them on a personal level like that? But if they're coming at you or they're lashing out at you, understand where it's coming from. It's usually coming from a place of pain. And believe it or not, with a little bit of self reflection, understanding who you are and knowing that you are trying to continue to grow and expand and be a better person, your own personal well being and happiness is on the other end of that. By not allowing someone outside of you, external forces, to affect you, affect your mood, affect how you can be swayed by emotion. Because guess what? Emotions get the best of us at some point. At some point. So, I hope this message helps today. Just a little growth and expansion. Just try it out for yourself. Just remain calm. If you need to, take a second before you respond. Don't react. Talk with reason. Be reasonable. Show a little empathy. I'm telling you, it goes a long way. And with some self-reflection on top of that, you'll be a better person for it in the long run. This is a long game. This, your life, your well-being, this is the long game. There's not a price that you can pay for your peace. It's not big enough. So, love you all. Like, share, definitely comment. Hit me at bigrelease@gmail.com. Have a great day, my friends. Peace.